angle those girls have got their legs at.
Yes, we're going to see not only aerobatics, synchronised aerobatics from the two pilots, but also from the two wing walkers as well. You can see. When I was here yesterday, Brendan, for the press day, there was a young lady on the top of the wing yesterday who was a competition winner from one of our sponsors, the News Chopper, and she actually got the chance of flying on top of the wing there with the team leader, Vic Norman, and she came down with a great big grin on her face. I could tell that she'd had a grin throughout because she was still picking the flies from her teeth, you know, and so maybe she's actually been signed up to do it for this whole weekend of Biggin. Who knows?
Well, indeed. So there they are climbing out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a little bit of barnstorming, a little bit of appearing above the commentary stand at the moment. I'm looking up the two together. There's the smoke going on. What wonderful smoke against the blue sky. Two 450 horsepower steermans, and yes, with live human beings on the top. Look at those girls go! Fantastic. And of course their arms come back as they come over the top of the loop. When the G is reduced, they're doing about 150 miles an hour on that pull-up, about 3 to 4 G. If you weigh 10 stone, that means you're weighing 40 stone being rammed down onto the top of the wing. And they've got very, very tight little seats to sit on or to support themselves, but very, very small harnesses. So it's actually a tremendous amount of pressure on their legs. You have to be very, very fit indeed, don't you, Pete?
And I have seen them, Brendan, and trust me, they are very, very fit indeed.
Yes, I was just thinking about those. Why do they wear those close-fitting, I mean, incredibly tight, close-fitting suits? They're just such fantastically tight, close-fitting suits.
And if you want to get a feeling of what it's like for them up on top of the wing there, so as Brendan said, it's about 140, 150 miles an hour. So if you're driving home on the motorway after the show today, wind the window down, stick your hand out, and if you're doing the maximum legal allowed speed of 70 miles an hour...
Of what miles an hour?
70,
thank you so much.
So the girls are experiencing more than twice that slipstream and performing those aerobatic manoeuvres while they do it, and performing aerobatics and getting the G-forces that Brendan's just described.
And holding their legs up often at the same time.
Indeed.
Now, the reason, seriously, though, that they wear these very close-fitting suits, ladies and gentlemen, is to cut down some of the air resistance, first of all, which is obviously a help in terms of performing the manoeuvres, but more importantly, what happens is if you've got anything loose fitting at all, it's simply flayed a loose collar, a loose wrist cuff or something like that would be an absolute nightmare. They're diving down to very low level now, so you get a very close look, pulling up, big climbing. It's a kind of bunt, we call it. It's an up and over, a bunting manoeuvre, and of course at the top of that they are actually under negative G and they're being lifted up off the top of the wing, very much relying on the harness. It does have a safety pin system in it, but ooh, that must be really, really scary being up there actually on the top of a pushover.
But as you say, Brendan, the girls have to be very live to perform these sort of manoeuvres, and Mary Dogood was telling me that when she was first interviewed for the job, Vic Norman asked her if she was flexible, and she said, well, I can't do Tuesdays.
Outstanding. Coming from your right, ladies and gentlemen, on a 45 line in a stacked line astern, the two utterly butterly steermen, Vic Norman, Mike Dentith.
It's interesting, it was actually Vic who brought the barnstorming and wing walking back to the UK in the early 80s. It was something that had been banned for safety reasons from the old days. You may have seen those black and white films of people literally walking along the wings and clambering around the fuselage.
That's fun.
And that's not allowed anymore for safety reasons, but the fact that there's a swivelling rig on the top and such great formation and aerobatic flying still makes the Utterly Butterleys one of the great spectacles on the airshow circuit.
It must be fun, though, to fill in the health and safety form and put down your day job as wing.
Yes,
yeah, right. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen, rolling upside down. I don't believe it. They're going to try and come together underneath and actually try and touch hands. This is the famous Utterly Butterly inverted wing walking mirror, no less.
And they've actually got all sorts of world records for that, haven't they? For passing a baton from one wing walker to the other.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
the longest time inverted.
Yes. They do occasionally, when the conditions are right, actually manage to touch hands, and the view must be absolutely awesome when you're either looking down from the inverted aircraft or up from the one underneath, and you're trying to touch somebody's hands flying along at 140 miles. I mean, that's really extraordinary.
You can see just how effective these aircraft would be as crop dusters, which is a use that many of them were applied to, particularly in the US. But originally designed as a trainer, the Boeing Cadet. And if you remember that film Tora 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 about the Japanese attack, just see how...
you've got to be very careful. Watch it now. You need a close look in there. The girls are actually pivoted sideways in those amazing swiveling rigs. They're actually turned on their sides. You'll see it a little bit closer later on when they come in for their crossing 45 displays, but they actually can spin all the way around through 360 degrees. So 90 degrees left and right, or indeed upside down. Look at them wave. They can see you, believe me. One come exposed cylinders. It's got a 10-foot diameter prop on that 450 horse Pratt & Whitney radial. And the sound, of course, is also very distinctive of the radial engine.